Hi everyone, Jess Z here with some astrology for the full moon that's coming up in Cancer. It's going to be a wolf moon in Cancer on January 17th at 5:48 p.m. That's Central Time for Moorhead, Minnesota. And you can see in this chart that I drew up, the full moon is here at the very last degrees of Cancer, 2750, rounding up to 28 degrees Cancer. And this Sabian symbol has to do with, it's the Pocahontas degree. And it's a degree that has to do with how one can be a bridge between two very different cultures, and how one may be able to move through different groups that are very tribal or very different, and help bridge the community or weave the community back together. So this full moon has a lot of reflection for us and offers us a chance to notice where bridges need to be made. This is going to be a very intense moon. Cancer has to do with emotions and the heart. So you may find, as I am, because I'm a water sign, there's a lot more emotions coming up as we head into this full moon. The moon is also across from the sun, of course, because it's the full moon, but the sun is conjunct Pluto. So remember when Venus was conjunct Pluto during Christmas? Now the sun is here, and really an invitation to look at the shadow and to look at our own underworld. Pluto is all about breaking down things that are not working and major transformations. So whatever house is your Capricorn, that is going to be the area in which this major transformation is happening. So we're conscious of the depths, and we're conscious of what's going on in our inner world. This shining light won't come as much of a surprise, but Pluto has the nature to kind of pull you in surprisingly to an underworld situation. So just be mindful that that is going to be some intense energy with the sun right there. And I'll go through the houses after I go through the report and share a little bit about what might be happening for you depending on what your rising sign is. So here we go. Here's what I got. Oh yeah, just a reminder that in whole sign astrology, which is ancient Greco-Roman astrology, which was only recently translated by Demetra George, I think in the 90s, that the Earth is at the center of the whole sign chart. So I just wanted to put that there. Okay, here's the opposition between Sun and Moon and Pluto, and Moon opposite Pluto. The Moon opposite Pluto can also bring about an awareness of how you might be scrutinizing others, or having some control issues in your relationships, looking at power issues, power dynamics, this kind of thing. Looking at victim consciousness. I mean, Pluto holds a lot of the energies of the myth of Persephone and Demeter, and Persephone being pulled into the underworld, and Demeter not letting anything grow until she gets her daughter back. And so the movement of the myth of Persephone is to move from feeling like you're a victim to everything that's happening around you, which is, you know, with our present day situation, there's a lot of things that are out of our control. And to shift into truly finding the power to rule the underworld. And in a way, it's an invitation for us all to rule our own inner world, or to become conscious of what can possess us, what complexes that we're carrying, what ways we're projecting our shadow onto other people. I love this podcast that James Hollis, he just did a lecture on the shadow, a free lecture, and he had a lot of really important things to say about the shadow. And one of the things I like that he said is that if I am unconscious of complexes and the energies that are within me, they create a sort of shadow government in our psyches. And, you know, as within, so without. So all that kind of energy we could just be mindful of as we're heading into this full moon to really use the energy to be self-reflective and to bring into consciousness the splinter parts of ourselves. One activity that can be fun to help track down some of your shadow, besides like looking at your dreams and stuff like that, but is to make a list of, put somebody's name at the top that drives you crazy, that you don't like, and then write down all of the things about them that are driving you crazy, and then put your name at the top, cross off theirs, and start to sit with that a little bit. This is the process of I am that, and practicing being like, I am that, I love that, and then also moving into I am not that. But it's a good exercise just to start to bring our own shadow energies into our awareness. Okay, back to astrology here. It's all connected. The AC of this event is in Leo, so really calling us to come into our more noble natures. And the AC Sabian of this event time is the wonder of the constellations at night. So this full moon is asking us to maybe move out of the doomsday energy that we might be feeling and more into that wondrous childlike state again, at the wonder of creation, the wonder of the stars at night. The most fortunate path of the event is directly across, and we also have across from the ascendant degree Saturn, Mercury, and this most fortunate path here. So Mercury goes into retrograde on January 14th, so before the full moon, and it's going to be right with Saturn in Aquarius, who's been doing a lot of damage and putting a lot of energy on controlling the airwaves and rules and laws and regulations and structure. So Mercury is like just past Saturn, and now it's coming back over. It's kind of reviewing those communications on the airwaves. All right, we also have another opposition here with Mars. Mars is at the vertex of this event. Mars in Sagittarius is almost at the galactic center here at the very last degrees of Sagittarius. So really adding a lot of fiery Martian energy. And Mars can be a malefic. Mars can be really about establishing power or creating disruption or being a warrior. So there could be some more fiery energy coming through the vertex. Opposite of that is Black Moon Lilith up here in Gemini. And Black Moon Lilith is a void in the sky. She's the cosmic yoni. So, I mean, that could be really fun if the masculine and feminine could find a sacred mirror for each other. So yeah, that's just there. You have another, this is the North Node and the South Node are at the very last degrees of Gemini and Sagittarius, and they are just about to move into Taurus and Scorpio, and that's going to happen on Wednesday, January 19th. That's going to be a really big shift in energy because Scorpio, Taurus are fixed signs. So fixed earth, those things that are on earth and cannot be undone from earth. All of the elements of earth things that are the structures that are eternal. And then all of the watery, emotional things that are fixed. So the deep, watery depths, which can also include our unconscious and all of our feelings. So it's going to be a really deep time and a deep shift as those nodes go into Scorpio, Taurus, and then the eclipses will be happening there. So there'll be a lot of change coming up for all of us in wherever those houses are in our own charts. All right, the trine happening here is energy that flows really easily, is Venus retrograde trining Uranus retrograde. So I remember when Venus was trining retrograde as she was moving in her direct transit, and I remember just feeling lots of love. So Venus may be reviewing here, and we may find that we're still reviewing past love or maybe our patterns in relationships for sure are being reviewed, and maybe what truly opens our heart. Um, Venus is going to be in her retrograde until the end of January, and then she'll appear as a morning star, and she's going to be crowned in shamanic astrology, the Capricorn goddess. So there's going to be a lot of goddess earth energy, um, especially with Venus being a morning star and starting a brand new cycle here in Capricorn, with the nodes moving into Taurus, the North Node, and then on Tuesday, January 18th, Uranus is going to go direct. And Uranus is a wild card. Uranus is a creative genius, and Uranus does not like control. And Uranus has been in that square with Saturn for freedom. And when Uranus goes direct, I think there's going to be a lot more of that kind of revolutionary type of energy, especially because the United States is about to have its Pluto return. That's the other thing about this full moon. It's at the degree at 2751 where the United States Pluto return is. And that's going to happen exactly on February 22nd. So I feel like this full moon is a little bit of a, it sets the stage for what we're going to really be looking at and beholding for the United States' Pluto return. Another trine here is Pluto and Sun trining series, so really amplifying that theme of the story of Persephone again. And you might find that you have the sense of like, I've lost a part of myself that's really important to me, and that spiritual work that we all have to find the soul again. Where have I lost pieces of my soul? Where have I lost something unique to my heart? And that tension, especially because it's winter up here, I can really feel the energy of Ceres saying, nothing's going to grow. It's going to be winter for a long time. That kind of ability to just ice over all of the feelings, and yet the desire that the mother has to connect with the daughter and to restore that union. So that energy is going to really flow strongly through this full moon. Another trine we have is, this could be interesting, Mars is making a trine with Aeris, goddess of chaos. Fire sign. When they're trines, they're supposed to like really flow and work for us. So imagine that energy of, you know, the chaos comes really fast and swift, but it's for our highest good. It's kind of clearing away some debris, and that fire is burning away all that no longer serves us. Especially as Venus just, 2 days ago went combust with the sun. She was exact with the sun, and she rules the heart chakra. I certainly was feeling that fire in my heart, and just kind of a lifting out of this old yuck, and be a restoration of the heart, that the heart fires might burn brighter and help clear a way for love. The moon will be trining Athena and Neptune. They're together here in Pisces. So a lot of like Athena, the battle goddess. Athena is also like one of the ancient goddesses, and here she is with Neptune. And Athena's shadow side is Medusa, so who was said to be raped by Neptune, and that's why she was given the snake hair. So maybe this moon is also helping us see and mend the wounds here of how the feminine or the deep feelings have been cast out or demonized, and bringing some healing waters there. There's that square again with Saturn and Uranus, and add to that square Mercury retrograde. So careful with those communications. There could be a lot of electrical energy and tension brewing. So watch the communications on the airwaves, and I'm always speaking to myself. There's ways too where we can make different talisman. And, if we're struggling with one of the planets, Mercury rules the throat chakra, and the throat chakra is like an aquamarine color. So you could wear aquamarine stones, or you could put a picture of Mercury on your altar. And Mercury helps with transformation and helps connect humanity back to the gods. So it's not always bad when she is in retrograde, but it is really inviting us to become conscious of the power of our speech and of our tongue, and of all of the ways in which we communicate. So we're open to transforming that, whatever's for our highest good. Also, be careful with those travel plans with Mercury retrograde. Mercury is going to go direct again February 5th. So just January 14th to February 5th. Hold those plans lightly, know that they might shift. Making a T-square here, Uranus with the ascendant of this degree. So T-squares are going to add a lot of tension. They're going to ask for liberation. So liberation from structures, liberation from that which is too constrictive, and maybe even the desire to have, to be free in our voice, to be able to really speak from our soul, to speak from our heart, which is different than, just venting behind a screen or speaking from our head. Another square, Mars squaring Neptune, Athena. Again, this is less exact. The exact is today. I don't even know what day it is at the moment. I think it's the 10th. But that energy will still be heart of this full moon. And then another T-square here to Black Moon Lilith. So again, finding this is like a masculine, feminine dyad. And then here we have Athena and Neptune kind of anchoring this hammer a little bit and trying to hold something for us to get a breakthrough on about the balance of the masculine and feminine. Another square here, ouch. Aeris, goddess of chaos, squaring Juno, Hera, the goddess of sacred marriage, and Hyros Gamos. So if you're finding that it's particularly challenging right now to be doing this Hyros Gamos and balanced relationships, this could be why. Again, the squares are tension for liberation, and Aeris is always bringing us a gift to look deeper into the unconscious so that we can really have more honest and clear conscious relationships. Sextiles going on. These are going to offer supports. Mercury and Saturn are sextiling. It's more Mercury is hitting that exact sextile with Chiron. So voicing the wounds and airing out the wounds may be eased in this full moon. So journaling and taking some time to find a trusted friend or a counselor to talk to would be very supportive for this full moon time. Vesta, sacred fires, sextiling Jupiter. Jupiter's make it bigger. Jupiter's in Pisces, and Jupiter is bringing in more spiritual wisdom to 2022 and expanding the ways in which we think about human spirituality on Earth. Vesta is adding that kind of sacred feminine soul essence here as she starts to move through the beginning degrees of Capricorn. Another sextile is Black Moon Lilith to the MC, the midheaven. So right above the sky, the Great Mother Void is offering her support, kind of watching over this event. And Aeris is also there, kind of bringing directed chaos as needed. The moon is sextiling Ceres, so another supportive feminine energy. And the moon is exalted in Cancer. So, with the Black Moon Lilith aspects and the Ceres aspects, there is a lot of nurturing feminine energy in this full moon. If we're willing to kind of let her waters purify us. Okay, those are the transits. And I'll just quickly go through how this full moon might be affecting you. This is my first time doing this, so I'm hoping that my dyslexia doesn't trip me up, and we'll see how this goes. Um, if you are a Cancer rising, then the moon is going to be in your first house. So this full moon will really be illuminating aspects of yourself, your body, and some of the deepest aspects of who you are. The sun and Pluto then will be in your seventh house, so causing a great values. And this will be illuminating and shining light on the things that are most important to you and also how you make money. And then the sun and Pluto will be doing its transformative work in your eighth house. And this is the house of values and dimensions. It's also a house of debt. It's kind of out of sight, so we can't quite see it very clearly. So there could be some transformation. There could be inheritance coming, or there could be debt coming, or an awareness of how family patterns have played out and impacted you. So a greater awareness of your lineage. You're a Taurus rising, then the full moon is happening in your third house of communications, study, short-term travel, and illuminating maybe new areas of interest, new things that you'd like to study, ideas about places that you would like to go or learn about, just kind of gathering some more information. And the Sun and Pluto are going to be in your ninth house of spirituality. So really adding that breaking down and transformative nature to spiritual ideas that have maybe held you in a box, and bringing forth greater revelations about those higher natures. If you are an Aries rising, then the full moon will be happening in your fourth house of family and home. This can also have to do with land and your ancestry. So there may be a lot more emotional energy in the home. The sun and the Pluto are happening in your 10th house of career. So there may be some shifts or transformations that are happening at work. Pisces rising, the full moon is going to be happening in your 5th house of creativity, sexuality, and children. So illuminating your own areas of where you are a creative genius. And then Pluto and the sun are going to be bringing a lot of transformative energy to your 11th house of community and friends. If you're Aquarius rising, this full moon is happening in your 6th house of health and service. So illuminating for you maybe new different healthy behaviors and patterns that you could do to self-care, and maybe also illuminating places in which you might feel like a slave and like going through some drudgery. So bringing some awareness to that. The sun and Pluto will be active in your 12th house and bringing some deep transformation to your psyche, your psychic life. So a good time to note dreams and see what's going on there for you in the unconscious. If you are a Capricorn rising, then this full moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships. So bringing to you the illumination of your partnerships, your most intimate partnerships. It can also be business partnerships, and just maybe seeing more clearly those people that you're in relationship to. And the sun and Pluto will be doing its work in your 1st house. So you may feel like you're going through a profound personal change, not only in how you see yourself, but even in the body. The body may feel like it has more heat to it, and maybe be going through a physical transformation as well. If you're a Sag rising, then this full moon is happening in your 8th house of debt and dimensions, bringing awareness again to places where we might have inherited things from our family or be passing things on, more consciousness about those things that affect us from our lineage. maybe awareness of how you could inherit money or be indebted. So watch that. And then the Sun and Pluto is happening in your second house of values and how you might look at money. So there may be a big shift and breaking down and transformation around money for you. If you're a Scorpio rising, then this full moon is happening in your ninth house of spirituality and illuminating more spiritual ideas, different ways of connecting with the divine. This is also the house of oracles, of astrology, of higher learning. So looking into those topics, seeing that more clearly. And then the Sun and Pluto will be breaking down and adding transformation to the house of study and communications and travel. If you're Libra rising, the full moon is happening in your 10th house. And this is the house of career. So you might be seeing more clearly what kind of moves you want to make right now in your career. And there might be some more emotions coming up at work too, if this is a Cancer full moon and you're around other people. The Sun and Pluto will be adding transformation to your 4th house of family and home and ancestry. And finally, if you, not finally, there's 2 more. If you're a Virgo rising, then this full moon is happening in your 11th house of community, friends, and family. So kind of illuminating those connections that you have out in the community. And the Sun and Pluto are bringing a lot of transformation to your 5th house of creativity, sexuality, and children. And finally, if you are a Leo rising, then this full moon is going to be illuminating your 12th house of the unconscious. So again, get out those dream journals and see what's coming up. And the Sun and Pluto will be doing its transformative work in your 6th house of service, health, and pets. So make sure to be mindful of your self-care and your care for animals. Right. Those with pull some cards. I'm going to do the traditional deck and also going to pick one card from my Viking Oracle deck. So we'll do this one first. All right, for this full moon in Cancer coming up, we're asking the cards to show us what we need to see for our highest good, for the highest good of all. Nothing more than that. Nas. Literally the light or the fire. It's also like the light of wisdom, the light that lights the way through the unconscious, the light of consciousness itself, spirituality, sacred fires, light in the dark. Three cards from traditional deck here. Again, asking for what's for our greatest good, the greatest good of all, nothing more than that. One. Pentacles. So Pentacles rule, and this upside down. I mean, I hate to say it, but like structures falling, structures being rebuilt. Maybe a positive way to see that would be like money kind of flowing into your hand. It is the upside down pentagram here, so kind of inversions with money. Upright has to do with like manifestation. So maybe transforming some blocks that we might have around our relationship with money. Or number 2. Ah, yes. This is also a fire sign, the 5 of Wands. Everybody with their fire wands. All trying to like hold their own fire, but gristing it out with each other. Hard. So that kanaz to like hold your fire. And here we are, like, can we figure out how to be a community together? Can we figure out how to hold our torch together and build something together? Finally, pushing the buttons here. Last one. Here it is. King of Cups. Sailing on the waters, mastering all of the emotions. Spiritual master, King of Hearts, one who rules, defines that peaceful waters, ability to ride whatever depths are there, the one who knows the way of the mermaids, and King of the Sacred Feminine. All right, so we've got King of Cups, 5 of Wands, reversed, Ace of Pentacles, and dyslexia here is good. All right, so may the fire light the way through whatever ways in which we feel stuck in our ability to manifest. May we become balanced with the earth element, not raping it or taking too much, but honoring the beauty of the earth through this big shift as the nodes move into earth sign. May we have within us and our passion, we hold them and continue to share our fire with them. And may the King of Cups, the King of our hearts, guide us through deep emotional water out through the Scorpio South Node and Jupiter in Pisces and Athena and Neptune in Pisces. So that's my full moon report. I wish you all many blessings and good luck.